Hey you guys, I'm here to bring you my Marco Polo Season 1 Episode 3 review. Essentially, this episode begins with a young soldier who you could tell is awaiting death. You can hear lots of noises in the background, soldiers getting their heads chopped off, and pretty much the scene ends with, the young soldier pretty much being really kind of ambivalent to this, like in a deep shock, so it ends with his head getting chopped off. The next scene we have Marco training with 100 Eyes. And it was a really beautiful scene. And you have 100 Eyes pretty much saying to Marco, like, wait, when you find some way back to the West, what are you going to tell them about this word Kung Fu? Now you proceed to have, 100 Eyes, per usual, what Marco's asked. But you have noticed Marco improving. But yeah, so pretty much halfway during, I would say like 3/4 of the way, near the end of the training session scene, we have 100 Eyes pretty much say that Kung Fu is pretty much supreme skill that's acquired through patience and hard work. He mentions that the calligrapher, he had this really awesome montage, of people who you wouldn't think is important, mixed in with the people who are important, in a society, that represents Kung Fu. You have the calligrapher, you have the one that sweeps steps, the loyal servant. You have a really great scene when 100 Eyes says, like, and you have to bear everything. You're like, when you can't even breathe, it's so hard to sweat, your bones are aching. You have, the scene where Kublai pretty much recovering from his victory against his brother and all the wounds and him going through the acupuncture and his wife being right by his side, whatever. And then you have Marco, after the scene, him and 100 Eyes engage once again, and 100 Eyes, it seemed as though he finally got caught because Marco actually finally blocked his blow to the blow to his face, and 100 Eyes is like, when you take a step back and they actually show the full, of the scene, it shows that 100 Eyes still had Marco exposed, which he could have kicked Marco right in his man balls, his manhood, and he's like, unfortunately for you, boy, you have not. And then bam, sent Marco right across the room. So after that, we have the scene with Kublai and his court. You can tell he's still very wary and still very kind of he's still not really feeling the fact he had to kill his brother. He's obviously still really beside himself that it had to come to that. And even though he really was given no choice, whatever, or you could say being urged by his wife to do it, whatever, he's still obviously still sort of in shock about that. So you have him giving, I forgot his cousin's name, but the guy with the long hair, who later in the review, for part 2 of the review, is actually the father of Kutalin. So by the part 2 review, I'll have his name down. So yeah, he gives his cousin pretty much all the lands of Eric, his brother, and his people. And the cousin's really surprised by it, but happy. And he says that, in his encampment, that he's going to hold a celebration, a big feast for the Khan. And the Khan's really excited by it. He's all smiling, giggling, all this shit. You can tell the Khan likes the feast, girl, how fat his fat ass is. But yeah, I'm just joking, somewhat. But anywho, after that, you have one of Jessedal's people send one of the Khan's people pretty much a little gift, a gift in a box. And, the Khan opens it, Kublai opens it, and it's pretty much the soldiers' heads that were chopped off, connected to the beginning of the fucking scene. And everyone's like in shock and awe. So Kublai's asking, I believe his son, Jingham, saying, okay, how many soldiers did we take during Wu Chang? And then Jingham's like, a mere 12, father. And I believe, was it Ahmed? Yeah, it was Ahmed who said, listen, let's just do pretty much eye for an eye. They took our soldiers' heads, we take theirs. The mere 12 that we have. And then Kublai's like, nah, you just deal with this through the finance, because that's your place, Minister of Finance, and pretty much make sure that the families of these brave warriors are compensated for. So after that, we have this interesting scene with Mei Ling being brought in with the other women for pretty much to become royal concubines. And the guy who you've seen, I believe, in the beginning of near the ending of episode 1, who was watching Marco because he couldn't touch like the other concubines at the time because Kublai forbade it, and he had to earn Kublai's trust. Anywho, he pretty much gives the ladies, the new ones, the lowdown at Main Link, pretty much saying that you have to pretty much fuck and like your life depends on it. Because if you're successful, you join the royal court, and you stay there permanently until you're released from royal leave. And if you satisfy the Khan in this life, you'll be greatly rewarded in the next life, and also a 20 karat, 20 karat gold. Besides that, he mentions that if you get to that, whatever, but if you don't quite get to it, you pretty much go to the Minister of Finance, aka the second place bid, and pretty much be sold off to members of the Khan's court. But if you don't get to that, then you're pretty much going to be sold off to the whorehouses in Camelot. And the dude just smiled at the last part, like, oh, that's like he wouldn't want that. So yeah. Besides that, the next scene we have Kukuchin, pretty much just like the last 2 episodes. She's pretty much putting shit, in a place for the other guy to find and putting a big rock over it. So Marco's all like looking over, whatever, and he notices the guy, and he chases after him. So the guy goes deep, which I consider the downtown of that place, at least at the time. And you see Yusuf there, just just doing things Yusuf usually do, keep to himself and just making notes of everything. So we see this guy, he has the jewels, whatever, that Kukuchin gave him, and he's speaking to this very funny dealer guy, whatever. So he's all saying, sit down. The dealer guy's like saying, sit down. And the guy's like, I'm in a rush. And the dude's like, listen, business can't be in a rush. Sit your ass down. So he's saying, okay. He's all saying, okay, so do you want to do business or do you want to fuck? And the dude just looked at him with a serious face and then it's like, just move the thing straight from him, like, nah, bro, I don't swing that way. And the guy's like this, literally. I just love the way his face went, like his neck and his face. He was like, you missed out, So after that, I believe he gives the guy like 2 coins, whatever. And the guy's like, the guy gave him the thing, whatever. He's like, dude, you gave me more this last time. And then the business guy's like, he pretty much like, I had a bad month, And then after that, you have Marco coming in, and then that distracts the guy, who pretty much, that distracts the business / OG guy. And he has one of his men pretty much grab up Marco. And Yusuf notices the commotion Marco carries. So he's all asking, pretty much, Marco's asking the guy, where's the dude that gave you the fucking necklace and shit? I want to know where he's at. And dude's like, you know what? No, yeah, the guy that had the horse, he left the type of horse outside. And the guy's like, I don't know, you know what? How about you ask the horse, Latin? And then the dude just has his boy just throw Marco out. And Yusuf's just watching. Yusuf's just like, Jesus Christ, this boy is so impulsive. So after that, I believe we have the next scene. We have Kukuchin speaking with Zabing, if I said it right, pretty much her protector. And pretty much through this conversation, we realize that the reason why this guy, she gives this, she does this weird shit with the dude, always like riding out to the grasslands and putting her shit in a certain spot and covering it with rocks, whatever, is because the guy still thinks he has a chance with her. And Zabing says, listen, at some point, he's going to realize you're just yanking his chain, and you have to stop this shit right now before he exposes you and me. And she's like, listen, don't worry, and he's like, listen, it's my job to worry. This could really fuck both of us, over. She's like, listen, it's all good. You know what? I'll protect you. You protect me like you always do. I got this. And that kind of calms his nerves, or at least for the most part. So I believe this video is about to run out, actually. So yeah, so this is part 1 of my review. I have part 2 for you guys later. Probably in the next 3 minutes, actually. Adios.